G'day guys, welcome to this week's weekly developer update. Joe, how are you, mate?
Doing pretty well. Happy New Year, buddy.
Yeah, Happy New Year, the first developer update of 2023. Glad to be back here and in the seat after a couple of weeks off. And then, dealing with some sickness on the back end of things. But yeah, glad to be back and back in interacting with the community and bringing these updates.
Yeah, sometimes I guess cruise ships can be a bit of a petri dish, eh?
Oh, mate. We'll just leave it at that. So kicking things off into the new year, pretty exciting developments we see with Alex. He's announced on Twitter, and we see him later in this developer update as well with the work he's doing on the UTXO set snapshot.
Yeah, that's way too rapidly sync a full node. You know, one of the issues that we kind of run into in blockchains is the ideal situation is every user runs infrastructure, right? There's a certain security incentive too. They get their own ability to kind of audit the network, and as well as interact, as a validator. And that's actually pretty critical to decentralization, right? But in an era of, let's say users that never really mind, don't know much about a node, and perhaps only have used browser light wallet or something like that, being an infrastructure provider really isn't in their mind, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. If they try to sync a full node, it takes time, right? And if they're coming off of just the exposure to the let's say browser wallet experience, a lot of them are kind of like, what is this? This is a terrible experience.
Yeah.
You sometimes have to wait hours to synchronize, and so this rapidly increases the time that it takes to sync a full node. Now, I guess we should probably come up with some sexy name for it for marketing purposes, but beyond my skill set, to be honest.
Well, here's a shout out to the community. If you have any recommendations on what we should sort of call this improvement or this upgrade also, by all means, reach out. We could probably put a poll together and have a community vote and come up with something pretty cool. Yeah,
that would be nice to see. It's a step moving towards the NepoPal implementation.
Yep.
And so, once we reach that point, then the light wallet experience is going to be kind of synchronized with full node security, and you get P2P layer interaction directly. There's a lot of magic there that's coming. It's probably underappreciated, and I guess the average user might even see it as a little bit nerdy, but in terms of security assumptions, it's pretty amazing magic.
Yeah, definitely. So on the NepoPal side, we sort of see that as like a compression side for the blocks scenario, whereas the UTXO set snapshot is basically another side to that of actually the accounting sort of model. So how does the set snapshot, so I can slowly get it out, we definitely need a new name for it. How does that sort of trigger and basically compress and bring the improvements that we want to see?
Sure. So instead of going through, let's say block by block, it's grabbing chunks from a distributed set of actors, and then it's kind of rebuilding those chunks as block history. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
And if I remember correctly, I'm a bit foggy at the moment in regards to sort of my recovery, but it's 20-30 minutes or so for the sync on the set snapshot. Is it?
Well, that's what I
recall that right?
Yeah, that's what we're shooting for, 20-30 minutes, which, compared to, let's say, somebody with faster internet might hit 5-6 hours. Somebody with slower internet, hard to even predict sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a huge improvement. And the reality is there are benefits in running a full node. And I do hope that, let's say in 2023, we do see some, UI, UX improvements packaged on top of the node, right? Ergo's done an awesome job in terms of delivering an easy to install full node. those of you that are interested, I would definitely recommend you hit that up. You can run it on a Linux, you can run it on a Windows, you can run it on a Mac. We've had some people that, will create a virtual environment on a phone and spin up a full node on a phone. But then the question is, can we package, applications or, some fancy user experience into that allows, let's say, users to, I don't know, be pushed in that direction to incentivize them in some way to be infrastructure providers. I think that would be a great path to see.
Yeah, most definitely. And shout out to Aberg as well and Nadia, I believe, with the UI update. It's looking fantastic, and the user experience there is really good. So by all means, jump on there and check it out. Just on the node side of things, people running infrastructure, there's more benefits just from security, like personal security also. But running the node, it does hold the state of the blockchain as well, and there's set snapshot obviously there. But then also it enforces the protocol rules and everything like that as well. So it does greatly aids in the resilience and sort of the decentralization of the platform and as a whole as well.
Yeah, you essentially become an auditor.
Yeah, very simple terms. Yep. All right, mate. Very nice intro. Let's jump into the dev update.
All right.
Okay, so kicking things off, we have Luavatra. So Louis has finished setup of his own server, so it runs as a backend for the for ErgoPad. The database syncing is done using Bucado. He's spinning up a Cardano node ready for running a Watcher or maybe a Guard for Rosen, and is further working on Padea.
That's interesting. If they end up as a guard on Rosen, I do imagine that a lot of projects that they work with are instant multi-chain projects. Where their liquidity can be on Cardano or what other chains Rosen starts to connect to.
It's pretty interesting, and really looking forward to it all come to light. So next up, we have ErgFlip.
All right, so ErgFlip pushed an upgrade, released the roulette game, working pretty good. A few bugs reported, and currently trying to find time to fix that. ErgFlip.com has surpassed 3,500 transactions since it was launched 1 month ago. So we got some DJ players in the community.
Well, speaking of that, I actually saw the number one earner was up around 1,000 erg. So congratulations to that person.
It's pretty wild. Well, good luck, everybody. Looks like the game animations are working on mobile now without any timeout, stopping them from actual results. Looks like up next for ErgFlip is restyling the web, making it look more like an actual casino. Right now, it is a very simple layout with dummy colors, and didn't expect to get this far. It started as something to help with learning, and yeah, look where we are now. It's pretty amazing. Hopefully one of these days the drinks are free there.
I love the story behind ErgFlip as well, obviously only being in the ecosystem for a matter of weeks, not even months, I don't think. And coming in and opening up with the Flip game, and now has a number of different games. There's the like a Russian roulette, there's a traditional roulette table, the dice roll, the coin flip, obviously. I'm sure I'm forgetting another, but yeah, it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, it's good feedback in terms of using Fleet too.
Yeah, definitely. And so next up we have Captain Nemo and SigmaPhi. So they've added a UI for order creation, cancellation, and closing of operations. Added off-chain fleet plugins for order creation, cancellation, and closing of contracts. So those plugins will be decoupled from the published and published as a fleet NPM package when they are stable enough, and is now working on the bonds dashboard.
Yeah, now we get, that's going to be interesting. With Nemo building some functionality in the Nautilus, having essentially all of the operations that he needs to, let's say, build the applications into Nautilus and then package them and pass them to other developers. Suddenly it's going to be a little bit easier to.
That's what we keep sort of banging that drum is ease of use and simplifying the process for people who come after and things like that. So yeah, it's fantastic. And the SigmaFi, actually, it's kind of come to light while I've been away for a couple of weeks. So I've seen a couple of nice screenshots of the bonds dashboard and a few other things. So yeah, can't wait to see this one sort of come to light as well. Okay, so next up we have Green Hat.
All right, so it looks like Sorzor is doing a great job revamping the ErgoLib WASM. Looks like you dropped discussion to issue 663. Looks like Green Hat's progress with the Oracle framework. He split the Oracle config file into pool and Oracle config. So anybody that's interested there can check out the Oracle 2.00 Beta 4 release. Next is to introduce a new command importing updated pool config to avoid a Oracle issue. Looks like 207 that might lead to lost reward tokens during the update process. Just a reminder, they're still running the Erg and Gold pool on testnet with 6 oracles. There's a couple places left, so those of you out there, please consider joining. I would encourage anybody and everybody that's interested in running their own pool to start one. We've got some good documentation in terms of the steps that we're taking to start the pool on testnet. He dropped a GitHub link to how to bootstrap an Oracle. And the current progress towards the release is always tracked on the Oracle Core roadmap. So if you're interested to see where we are in the process, where we've been and where we're going, click that link.
Yeah, it's with the testing, you can jump onto that Telegram link there and join the group. But yeah, the documentation around how to actually spin up and join the oracles and create your own and things like that, pretty good. I actually read through it a little bit earlier after Glasgow posted the link in one of the chats. So yeah, it's very well documented. And by all means, reach out if you want to join the oracle pools there for testing. And that sort of ties into this next comment from Helix Evo, just around testing. So there is a lot of testing that goes on in the ecosystem. So he's just proposing sort of like a test group where people sort of offer infrastructure and things like that. But yeah, there's a number of people who sort of do that off their own bat. MGPI, I believe, spun up the testnet that everyone's sort of utilizing now and things across the board. But yeah, it's definitely great to start that conversation and everyone join in and test. Okay, so next up we have Kushti.
All right, so he's been working on protocol and reference client research and development. As we covered in the intro, the bootstrapping with the UTXO set snapshot is working more or less stable. With snapshot being downloaded from multiple peers, you can test it on your own by downloading from the UTXO snapshot branch, extracting some functionality into another PR to make it possible to review it in smaller chunks. Looks like he's working on an issue where the node is holding invalid transactions for some time. The fix is underway. It looks like he's testing it. But he's also reworking and validated transaction IDs cache, as it seems to not be prioritizing the last transactions seen at all. So he's going to create an issue, and then we'll get some improvement there. Looks like he reviewed some PRs with the Sigma State interpreter. He also dropped a forum post where he made a note about the feasibility of Prism implementation, which is one of the research papers out there in terms of scalability for blockchains. He's going to be reading some more papers and providing more reviews. I know this is something that in the past, probably a year ago, he was going through these, but at the time, then, other things came up, and now he's actually kind of diving into them with implementation in mind rather than just kind of thought experiments. So I'm looking forward to see him pick apart what makes sense, what doesn't, with all of these papers. I know that, one of his goals is always to optimize the networking layer as much as possible, and creating trying to avoid breaking changes. That's kind of the thread the thing we're trying to thread the needle on. So we'll see as more papers come out. I think we'll start a broader community discussion what principles make sense, in terms of the implementation, what that would look like, what that would do, pros, cons, all that good stuff. So it's a longer term discussion to start. Looks like with other matters, we've proposed some changes in the DEXI contracts to make the protocol more resilient, reviewing the contracts that are done, preparing some writing about the protocol and the deployment instructions. It looks like he's also calling out Liquid Face. I know that he's been wanting to have somebody review the Swamp Audio contract before he pushes his kind of beta product. And so Alex is saying, well, which is the most recent version? Sorry for the delay. So looks like that's coming soon. Trademark.
Yeah, watching the most recent, what was it? The AMA, actually. I got a couple of chuckles there with the soon TMs. So there's plenty of those mentioned.
Yeah.
Alex, always busy. Just in regards to the papers and everything as well with the Prism and writing the reviews. And I like how methodical Alex is and how like he lists the pros and cons, and like you mentioned, having the non-breaking changes. It's not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole sort of thing. He's actually looking for something that complements the way sort of Ergo's set up and everything like that moving forward. Okay, so scrolling down, we have SigmaSpace.io. So over the holiday period, it's made a lot of progress and just hoping to launch a beta soon. So on the front end, there's these are all completed. So the landing page, block overview, the mempool view, and the token view. There's some screenshots just down below. On the back end, some of the use cases need database queries, which take too long to execute in the current Explorer database schema. So he's changed the schema and tried to optimize it for more speed. Currently implementing a new chain grabber in Golang to index into the modified schema. So when that's finished, they're going to open source the chain grabber and the modified schema if it solves the performance issues. Good to see. And then on the infrastructure side, joined the Oracle V2 test on testnet. Has prepared servers to run more services like Oracles for DEXI or even Rosen, a watch or a guard if possible in the future. And has published the Node API at node.sigmaspace.io. So it's probably going to do that for the testnet also soon. Good to see a couple of people actually setting up infrastructure for in anticipation for Rosen and things like that also. As you can see, there's a couple of screenshots there. And next up, we have MGPy.
All right. So with MGPy, it looks like on the bot side, the decentralized off-chain bot is complete along with documentations. That's no huge feat for the ecosystem, huge tool for anybody out there that's going to need them for their application. Looks like the extension is that the bot can be used easily for other projects. Big open source tool there. I have to give a big shout out to MGPy for that one. You can check it out at the GitHub link that he dropped. Now we get into the airdrop tool that he's been working on. The airdrop bot scripts Python with ErgPy are complete. It can be repurposed for any token. Can grab 15,000 boxes and add them to a local database in 5 minutes, 1,500 let's say asynchronous API calls. Looks like it grabs over 3,000 NFT holder and adds them to the local database in 5 seconds. And that's, I don't know, when we talk the future, right? CW, long term. I think that if I look at extended UTXO and where it's absolutely going to destroy the EVM model in terms of performance. It has to do with taking cash flow and distributing it, taking fees and distributing it, because, when you can, grab 15,000 boxes, chain a transaction and throw it out in the environment, and for super low cost and a couple of blocks, have fun trying to replicate that on a lot of other systems.
Yeah, exactly. For one, performance based, trying to match that, but then also the costs that are associated with that, trying to match it on an account based model and things. I've often said this: once the power of UTXO is actually realized, like for both ourselves and sort of Cardano and things, people actually realize the potential of that output model where there is multiple inputs, but then multiple outputs in transactions and things. Yeah, it's going to be sort of mind blowing.
Yeah, it's good. Fun times ahead. And so, I have to give a shout out to MG Pi because, a lot of the open source work that he's doing here is foundational towards moving us towards that future. It looks like with Python, he's created a native script to determine if a address is paid a private key, paid a script hash, paid a hash, and mainnet or testnet. So, we get an idea what you're calling, I guess, which makes sense. One dependency, base 58 serialization, would be happy if somebody could review and test. So those of you out there, please go on and
jump on that,
give us some
give some feedback. Okay, so next up we have Prager Maxine. They're still researching the blockchain persistence space, which should eventually lead to an Explorer build on top of something more efficient than a RDBM or direct Cassandra persistence. For instance, a Janus graph is basically a very sophisticated KV storage index generator based on a given schema, and it's able of handling queries in real time, regardless of the blockchain size and distribution of addresses and boxes. So, for example, the Postgres Cassandra query for a frequently used address or address with a lot of boxes could take ages to answer or even crash the database. So it's good to see a little bit of research going on there. There's some comments here from Luavatra and PGR456 also, just in regards to databases. Pragmaxim says from experience, it's just about total volume. It's about the entity distribution. So if you, for example, if you put Twitter database in the Postgres, you'll need extra table for Barack Obama and Elon Musk and do some join magic. Same goes with special addresses or something associated with insane amount of boxes. So, for example, Cardano might be many times bigger in data volume, but might have similar entity distribution as Ergo. It's interesting. Still a couple more comments here, just general discussion. Looks like next we have Blitz TCG.
All right. Let me get past all the meat in that conversation about the Explorer.
Yeah.
Looks like at Blitz, they've merged the development done by the partner team, the matchmaking efforts, into the build. I'm creating a feedback list and sending it to them to refine and improve before they move into additional matchmaking tasks. The card artwork completion is reaching about 70%. So something like 120 out of 170 characters or cards needed for Blitz have been released. Looks like the months of January, February will be used to focus on the website a bit, as its current state for a couple of months. And it looks like they want to get the Cardano integration up and running alongside the Ergo integration. Also want to release the lore pages because lore is cool. So awesome.
Yeah, I love the artwork that they're it's a number of artists now that are putting out. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I know I've said that numerous times, but yeah, just like to reiterate that. And next up we have Mr. Pixel and Cyberverse. So this is an important update to be done before release. So apartments, building and data in the game and servers complete. Load apartments as you load the character NFTs from the wallet address is done. Also, another update for the apartments in the server, which splits the apartments data from the user data. Added all 250 Ergo Pixel NFTs of walls. Added music and music NFT token. Fully integrated the CYPX and Ergo token into the game. Split the character NFT data from the user data in the server end of both the database. Start of using a true database. So convert all the demo data in the server to a true data from the database. Sorry, bit of a tongue twister. Load, save, and get the true data, which won't be reset. And then on the roadmap, there's the connecting the wallet, the login and authentication for entering the game is completed, and they have to prepare the new UI for the new page. And on the character side, they're also starting work on new animation sprites that include jumping, running, fishing, consuming, dancing, and probably one of my favorite things, drinking.
Awesome.
So next up, we have Atelier and Comet.
All right. So what's Comet up to? It says too lazy to do anything. Happy holidays. That looks like they did make a few memes though, so there is progress on that front. Also, looks like there was a lottery winner that was a non-Comet winner, which is good to see. So high chance that everybody else got wrecked, but somebody finally won. Looks like they're going to shut the lottery down so they can create 3 more lotteries with cheaper ticket price and the lower possibility of winning. The ETA looks like 1 week to 1 year. Seems like reasonable distance. We can't complain after we can't complain after the whole Ledger stuff, which we should probably add. Did finally get pulled into the developer mode, developer build over at Ledger HQ. So it's good to see. Yeah. Looks like the new rules for the lottery pools are the really poor people lottery, which the average ticket price is 10K Comet with 3% luck. The still poor people lottery with the ticket price 125K Comet at 5% luck, and the almost average people lottery with the ticket price of 250K Comet with 10% luck. So it's good to see.
You'll have to spill the beans. Did you win?
Me, no. 0%.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still a really poor person too. I didn't win anything.
I have to look. I have to check my tip bot to see if I even fit in the really poor people category.
So scrolling down, we have a lot of things here, sort of non-related. There's a bit of an update here from Soysar, just in regards to the comment above about doing the ramping on the ErgoLib WASM. So to provide some detail on what they're doing with the WASM package, they're making a major 1.xx release to overall make the package more familiar with the JS devs and easier to use. So consolidating the current NPM packages into one to remove the need for platform-specific code. There's removing the collection type, making things more JavaScripty and TypeScripty. Camel casing names, new constructors instead of ergobox.new, for example. There's making the API more consistent. Currently, classes have different names for doing the same thing. Other general things to improve the dev experience as they come across them by working with constants. There's making the TypeScript declarations as good as possible. It can be a little bit tricky. Polish the API documentation and publish docs on how to do common things, how to use wallets, sign transactions, etc. If you've used ErgoLib WASM browser or Node.js in the past and have some suggestions on things to improve, definitely open an issue in the new repo, as you can see there on the link. And aside from that, they're doing some stealth address things with ERP41. It's been opened. If anyone has any time to check and have a look, by all means, jump on there. And next we have a non-real in the auction house.
All right, so it looks like with the auction house, users' activities such as sales, mint, and listings are shown in a table that's refreshing every few seconds. Fixed a bug in the API that caused skipping for some of the auctions and not scanning them. Looks like UI fixes regarding showing correct auction currency, showing correct username, and showing time in user's time zone. The bids API, which returns all bids for a specific auction, was not working properly. That's been fixed. We now scan and show all auction types, including V1 auctions on mainnet. So a lot of those old ones that people thought were buried, I guess, are back. It looks like the loading most pages server side and added skeleton screen for quicker and smoother page loading. So that's great to see.
Yep. Okay, so next up, Network Spore. This unfortunately has been a little bit sick, but still alive and kicking, and so is the project. I'll also integrate Ergo into it eventually soon. So that was the Arcturus RPG or something along those lines. Can't remember off the top of my head. So they were eventually thinking of an NFT file system would be good enough to be a good marriage on the base layer, along with the like a P2P. But with the new arrangement, it'll go to the new app layer. It means that they won't be doing anything crazy, any crazy Ergo dApps for starts. I probably will do just a small one until they build up the ability to tackle bigger ones like NFTs. And scrolling down, I think that was the last update. Yeah, looks like it. All right, mate, it's good to get back into the seat, isn't it? Checking things out, getting back into the ecosystem and seeing what everyone's been up to, especially across the holiday period. But you did mention a nice, beautiful update that we've seen just over the last couple of hours, and probably nice to elaborate on that a little. That's being Ledger pushed to the developer mode and people being able to utilize that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's part of the process of getting full implementation is it'll go to the developer mode. It's going through a series of tests on their side, which I think we're primed to pass this time around. And at that point, hopefully Ledger becomes a bad memory for me anyway, but a great user experience for everybody else.
Yeah, most definitely. Very well said. There's a couple of caveats as well that I saw just in regards to sending and things like that. There's a limitation of 20 tokens per transaction. And I saw a little bit of discussion around this on Twitter, actually. And just to clarify, that is 20 different tokens. So, for example, Comet, you could send Comet NFTs, Erg, what else, like Excel, ErgoPad, Padea, everything like that. So you have a limitation of actually 20 tokens, not a limit of 20 Erg, if that makes sense. Just to clarify.
That has to do with the token types.
Yeah.
Well, number. Yeah, that's a good point to add. There should be a warning that pops up in wallets for that. Yeah. Once that's pulled, fully integrated, I think that'll be quickly added to all the wallets and the ecosystem. And those of you out there with treasures can, finally get the full experience. It's
Ledgers.
Oof. Soon was too long on this one,
Yeah, soon TM. There's plenty of O's in that one.
Yeah, I can't say I'm happy with how that was delivered, but it's good to be done.
Yeah, we're here now. So just that final little hurdle of actually being reviewed by the Ledger team and ticking things over and handing it over to the community to sort of run with and secure their precious Erg and tokens, etc.
Yeah, so it's a good way to start off the new year.
Most definitely. All right, mate, it's been a pleasure chatting once again and jumping back into the weekly developer updates. As always, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. Have a good one.
Be safe, everybody.